Welcome to the Boss Ladies Breakroom, the financial literacy series, brought to you by Boss Lady Miss Kamei, who will educate, inspire, and empower you to take action in building generational wealth and protecting your assets with trust documents. Welcome to the Boss Ladies Breakroom, everybody. Welcome to January. Welcome to 2026. We are launching our Triggered, Not Broken series this month. And this is the topic that we are going to be focusing on this year. 2026 is the year of the fire horse, a time of bold movement, transformation, and leadership. And here in the Boss Ladies Break Room, we're choosing to ride that fire with intention. Triggered, Not Broken. It's a powerful conversation series inside the Boss Ladies Break Room that explores how emotional triggers, trauma, workplace conflict, and personal challenges become catalysts for healing and leadership when approached with intention. That's our focus for the year. This is not therapy, okay? We're not here to give therapy to people, right? This is a self-awareness strategy and emotional literacy for women who are building businesses, navigating power, and leading through change. We're here to educate, inspire, and empower you. And I am going to take you guys all the way back to the very, very beginning of the Boss Ladies Break Room with no other than my favorite boss lady, Marcrae Thibodeau. We are going to come back. We're going to spill the tea today. We are going to tell you guys what happened. We are going to talk about healing, restoration, and how our friendship survived the challenges of working together. We're going to take a quick break. So don't go anywhere. When we come back, we're going to introduce Boss Lady Marcrae to the break room, and we're going to get right into it. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Did you know that 46% of mobile shoppers are likely to buy a product or service from a verbal ad when it's relevant to the content that they're viewing? It's responsible for capturing attention, creating interest, and persuading your target audience.
You know, it's about every woman having their unique experience. When you're on that vibroacoustic sound equipment, women go into their own world.
Let the Boss Ladies Break Room put your company in the spotlight. Visit my website at MissKameiInternational.com, click the Contact tab, and fill out the form listing Sponsor Ad Spot in the subject line. And let us create a sponsor ad for you, your company, or service or product that you sell, which will be featured in our series. Partner with us for a greater reach to those who need you. Welcome back to the Boss Ladies Break Room. Welcome, welcome. I am so excited about this interview. My guest today is Boss Lady Marcrae. We have been friends for many years. If you guys know, this isn't just a podcast, right? If you guys have watched any of my interviews with my boss ladies through the year of last year, you know that this is a space where we educate, inspire, and empower our audience. And when we stop pretending that success doesn't come without scars, right? I'm Miss Kamei. I'm a woman who understands that leadership isn't just about what you build. It's about what you heal along the way. And today we're opening that brand new chapter. This season series is titled Triggered, Not Broken. Because being triggered doesn't mean that you're weak, right? It means something inside of you is asking for attention, for healing, for growth. When trauma is triggered, it's not a punishment. It's an invitation to heal an old wound so you can become a better version of yourself. So you can show up better for your marriage, your friendships, your business partnerships, your workplace, and most importantly, yourself. This series isn't about therapy. It's not about blaming the past. We're not here to blame anybody, our parents, our siblings. We're not here to blame the past. It's definitely not about staying stuck in victimhood. Okay. This is about using emotional intelligence as a leadership strategy. Again, this is about using emotional intelligence as a leadership strategy. This is about understanding how trauma shows up in the way we communicate, the way we confront conflict, the way we handle money. Okay. Yep. It's true. The way we handle money, it's all tied to that. The way we respond to power. Okay. And the way we set or fail to set boundaries. And today's episode is especially meaningful because we're starting this journey by telling the truth about where the Boss Ladies Breakroom began and how healing, boundaries, and growth reshaped it. This conversation is about friendship, collaboration, misalignment, and repair. So without further ado, I am welcoming Marcrae Thibodeau, Coach Marcrae Thibodeau, to the Boss Ladies Breakroom. Welcome back, my love. Welcome back.
Thank you, darling. Thank you. Thank you for having me on your premiere show for 2026. I am so excited to be here and spill all the tea. And I have a little surprise for you, honey.
What? What did you do? What is it? What is it? What is it?
Tell you what it all says when you have certain type of viewers, but I listen.
Hey, we keep it real here, Marcrae. We keep it real. 100.
Well, look. So this mug has both you and I on it.
What?
Yes, ma'am. It's a cartoon Kame and a cartoon Cray.
Aww.
And I will be bringing this to you tomorrow. I will be in Las Vegas getting my face done. Yes, ma'am. I'm flying out for lunch, but today I'm drinking out of my mug. Okay. And I will bring this to you straight to you firsthand. So you will be drinking out of us. Okay, because we water each other. All right.
Yes, we do.
So yes, I wanted to pull up that little, keepsake and share with you that is a gift for you from the holiday. I did not get to see you, and I just wanted to say thank you straight away for re-inviting me back to such a very impactful and important show.
Thank you.
I think everything that you talk about is very, very important, including this topic today. So
well,
tell me about what we're going to discuss.
Yeah. So I want to start, the people that know us, right? We've been friends for many years now. I think it's over 10 years, 10, maybe 15 years at this point.
Yep.
And so for those that don't know, I want to, share just a little bit of history about, how we met. And the amazing impact that we've done in our community, what we've been doing, here in the Boss Ladies Breakroom, we didn't just start doing this, right? We didn't just start today. We didn't just start a year ago. We've been doing this. I've learned so much from you as a professional businesswoman in the nonprofit sector, business sector. When we met, I definitely was not, this far into my business as I am today. Many things I learned from you, sitting on boards of your nonprofit, being involved in organizations and events, and, community events that you have put on over the years. I remember meeting you, you were putting on a fashion show. And you were raising awareness for, I believe, lupus and domestic violence or rape victims, I believe.
Correct.
And so you casted for this fashion show, and of course in Seattle, I was on that cast list, right? Me and my rhinestone sister Denise Johnson, when we were active in our plus size pageant reigns back then. And so I, responded to your model casting. And I remember the venue was out in Newcastle, the golf course out in Newcastle in Renton. And it was actually my mother's birthday, and my mother had passed away at this point. So the day was very challenging for me. And I was pretty sad, and I almost didn't come to the audition. But it was a beautiful day. It was a beautiful drive up to the golf course that day. I parked in the parking lot, and I get out of my car and I start walking in, and there's this woman, in front of me with this long hair and this little short skirt and these, like, I want to say banging legs, like from the back. I was like, wow, those are leg goals right there. Leg goals, leg goals right there. Like, who is this beautiful woman? So I was kind of walking in behind you. And, when I got inside, that's when I realized, that you were Marcray Thibodeau, who was leading this show and putting on the show. And so, that was my first experience of you. I also met Tiffany Rude there that day.
Yes.
A very good friend of yours. Her and I actually were members of Christian Faith Center. So when I, had run into her there, she was like, "You look familiar." And I was like, "Yeah, so do you." And, we realized we sang in the choir together, her and I.
Stop. That is new information for me.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So, so that was my experience of you. What about you? What was your experience of me? Like, did I just come in and take over and, like, you don't need any other models, like Kamea's here, like,
you know what? You would think so. You control the room wherever you go because you have such a unique look. And so I just knew you would be perfect for the show. This was the first of, I think, many shows that started opening the doors for plus size anything to rock runways. And it wasn't heard of at that time. And so I thought you were a great spearhead for what I was looking at doing. And it wasn't at all a challenge to get you involved in kind of the message behind helping women with that had dealt with we were going through like a whole long list of different things that we really wanted to make this charitable for, but it was for women who had dealt with domestic violence. And so for that, I think there were a number of reasons why a lot of women were there. But for you, I had you walk twice. I really wanted to make sure that we came out with a bang. And so you were going to walk out if you were able to make the show first, because I think if you're going to do it, you better do it right. So I was absolutely impressed by your walk. I was impressed by your personality. And I was also impressed by your message. Now, you hadn't shared with me that it was your mom's birthday until after when we sat down, but I thought, oh my gosh, that's amazing that you would even think to do that, because I probably would have been in bed somewhere. So my first impression of you was very professional. And that speaks to what we're going to talk about today, because you hold a certain standard. You hold a certain standard, and it started the day that we met. So I was very impressed. Very, very impressed.
Well, I aim to please. Right. Somebody once told me, Miss Kamei shows up, right? And it's like, oh, Miss Kamei. And, then, a difficult conversation comes up, or, a certain situation presents itself. And, Miss Kamei, the paralegal, shows up. And, people are like, whoa. Who is this? And, and I was having, challenges in relationships, right? Personal, professional relationships. And so somebody, suggested, Miss Kamei, the paralegal, should show up first. That so that gives people, kind of a reference, right? And Miss Kamei, the beauty queen, and, the pageant title holder, and, the model, and, that she can show up second, but, the paralegal should show up first. And, so it's worked. It's definitely worked, right?
I love that. Good advice. Such good advice. You gave me that advice one day, from going from Cray to Marcray. Coach Cray is one person, and Marcray Thibodeau is a totally different person. I'm a little bit more vivacious, a little bit more out there. Coach Cray is very stern, A-type, like show up as yourself, but also yourself. And so you were exactly who I expected you to be, but I did not expect the paralegal. And that paralegal showed up in our future, which is a really good thing because it really set a good foundation for the type of relationship I think we can develop and the foundation for who we see each other as. So that's very, very good advice. And actually, anybody out there taking notes, make sure that you remind yourself of who you truly are, whether you're in a professional setting or not. Super great advice there. So thank you for that.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's just get into it. We've been sharing on social media that we're going to be talking about the tea today. What happened in the break room, how the concept, was introduced, what happened, because initially, the break room, involved you and I. And there was a period of time, it extended, that it was you and I hosting the break room. And then I took over.
Right.
And, people know us, right? So back in Seattle, after we initially met and became friends and business associates, essentially, we put on Miss Kamei's Black Tie Fashion Gala. You were the executive producer. I was the executive director. And we spent about a solid 10 months building this event. And the event was built around breaking the silence around workplace bullying. And I was being bullied at All-State Staff Council office so bad that I was removed from the workplace. And that's when I actually met with you and had dinner with you and had an opportunity, I feel, to start our personal friendship. Was at that moment when we met for dinner and I sat down and shared with you what was happening and what was going on. And because of you, Miss Kamei's Black Tie Fashion Gala, was birthed, right? And it was an amazing event. We worked hard for so many months, and you and I both had a lot of personal circumstances and situations that were going on in a continuation, essentially, as we were planning this event and putting on this event. And I believe, God's greatest warriors often always experience the worst scrutiny, right? So when something big is getting ready to happen or something grand, is coming, that's when it gets the enemy's attention. And, so we were both very supportive to each other, throughout the event. But we were very focused, meetings every week, photo shoots, casting calls, ready to wear designer, on location, interviews and in inventory and, mapping out. Oh my gosh, like it was so much fun, yet so much pressure. And at the same time, I was, I actually had gone back to the workplace and had gone back to the job. 4 months after being gone. And so that, was a very interesting dynamic, as well as we were meeting every week talking about bullying in the workplace.
Right.
Yeah. So
ironic.
Yes. For me, that event was as successful as it was, largely due to your experience putting on events, your contacts, your connections, all of the things that you had been doing in your community were very different from what I was doing in my community as a pageant title holder. Very different platforms, essentially. And the event was just a major success. We've been hailed to, when are you guys doing Miss Kamei's Black Tie Gala again? And we talked about it and chatted about it. And then here comes the break room. Here comes the Boss Ladies Breakroom.
Right.
So talk to us, share with our audience, how you introduce the Boss Ladies Breakroom.
Okay. So what's really cool is that when you have a certain sense experience, if you've tasted it, touched it, felt it, seen it, and understood it, you feel like you know what you're doing. And so I introduced this idea. I said, hey, Kamei, I think this is because we have such lengthy, in-depth conversations and we get down to some nitty-gritty stuff. And I thought, wouldn't this be so dope if we could transition this in business into something that, could cultivate a whole new tribe of women who feel empowered or enlighten the community on concepts that they never even think about. I mean, like the hard and dirty stuff.
Yeah.
And being a podcaster myself, I thought one way about the concept. And so I said, hey, what do you think about this idea? And you were like, yeah. And you have a certain business aesthetic. And so you had an idea in your mind, which I think is where we lacked the opportunity to have that discussion. And then by the time it became a thing, it was more than I expected it to be, probably more than you expected it to be, but not more than we wanted it to be. I think it ended up being a concept that looked one way to me, looked one way to you. And then there was the clash of the titans because we both have very strong personalities. We're easy to get along with in our respective fields. However, we're not going to take no, you know what I mean? Yeah. And so I think that's where the conversation should have been had. And we can get into, all facets of what really happened. But essentially, the idea was for us to host a podcast together. We came up with this awesome idea as if two women were sitting in the break room and they happen to be tight at work. And they grab their coffee and they're like, okay, it's lunch break. I know I can go see Kamei. And then you walk into the lunch break and you're like, hey, let's talk. And really the talks were supposed to be 15 to 20 minutes, maybe a half an hour of in-depth conversation. And most of those conversations were going to be headed up by way of the concept of future planning, financial literacy, those types of concepts, and how even having guests on would bring that all full circle so that we are adding value, we're educating, inspiring, and empowering people to think outside the box, outside of the break room even. But the concept of being in the break room keeps it professional, keeps it light, but then also, we are on a break from work. So we're going to talk about, the things that really matter the most to us. But if you want to take this part, we can talk about what really happened because both of us are effective communicators. But I think the day that we had a clash of the titans, it turned out to be something that two warriors, I think you mentioned the word warriors today.
Yeah. Yes.
Two warriors are fighting for the same cause, but they're using different weapons, if that makes sense. We're using different weapons. And so today's conversation, I think, is so important because we're full circle, 365 days almost.
I know.
Into something that is a new concept, which is great, right? And you know that January represents new beginnings. It's a monumental time of year when you get a chance to reset. So I'm so glad to be here with you because I think it's very important, the conversation, but also we need to talk about these things because there are times when you feel like you're going to partner with a friend and because you get along so well on the phone and you hang out so well together that you expect that the business relationship is going to be just as smooth. And that's just not the way it was for us.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the idea moved fast because it felt magnetic. Right?
Yes.
It was something that was bringing us together. Fire creates momentum, right?
Huge.
But it also exposes what's unhealed.
Hello. Yeah.
So, I the concept was amazing. Again, going back to, the Black Tie Gala, right? Like the success of that event really largely was due to you.
Oh,
and so, although, I was an on-air, talent on AM Talk Radio at 11:50 a.m. Hubbard Radio over in Bellevue. Like to shout out to Benny over there, our studio engineer. So and that's live talk radio, right? I also was mentored by Oprah Network studio. Television advisor when I was on the air back then. So I did have a very structured, very high level operational standards, I would say, from being, on AM Talk Radio. um,
Mhm.
and being mentored by somebody, that was operating in that capacity.
Right.
And so, although the world has changed, like thank God for the electronic world and evolution of platforms. Um,
Mhm.
so moving the Miss Kamei show, to a virtual platform, out of a live, on air radio studio,
Mhm.
is how the content has moved.
Sure.
So the break room concept was amazing. I loved, the fact of, this was for boss ladies.
Yeah.
Because I will tell you, Mark Ray, and this is a sentiment that you and I have shared.
Mhm.
I'm tired of, women bullying other women. I'm tired of women abusing other women. I'm tired of women
Mhm.
hating on women. Like I'm
Mhm.
giving the tea today. Like
Mhm.
I'm tired of it.
Yeah.
Um, women we have been suppressed, we have been silenced, we've had to fight for so many aspects of the life that we live today. And I believe that if women would stop seeing age, nationality, race,
Mm.
color, and see women,
Yeah.
that we could unite as the female race, and
Say
really
that.
support and love and empower each other. And so
Absolutely.
that was what I saw and what I thought, like, and who
Yeah.
better to do it, right? Who better to do it
Hello. Well,
than you?
I mean, it's been 50 years, Kamei, since we have just been able to purchase homes. Like
Right,
50 years ago, we were not able to purchase a home on our own. So,
right,
like, as an example, we deal with a lot of chaos in our regular everyday lives, having to give ourselves, our own pat on the back or our own accolades in a world where it's been male dominated for so long. And
yeah,
so to have to work against each other in this, microcosm of women all who are supposed to be uplifting and banding together,
yeah.
that's enough. That the outliers are enough. But imagine
Hmm.
having to battle or be on a battlefield with women who are just like you, who want the same things as you do, who have the same ambition, are like-minded. All those things come into play. And you and I, luckily, have never had to deal with that. We've never had to run into anything like that because you stand on your own power. I stand on my own power. And that's
Yeah,
one thing you have taught me is, you know, learning how to just be confident in what you have and who you are and what you've got,
yeah,
especially to offer the world, is huge. Now, there's a lot of unconfident women out there. There's a lot of
mhm,
unconfident men out there. And sometimes that plays a factor in how far we can take our power and what we can do when we actually turn around and uplift each other. So I'm glad that you
right,
made point of that big time. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. You said something. You made a statement.
Mhm.
Emotional intelligence
Mhm.
reigns supreme in my life,
Mm.
and it helped me recognize my role in the situation.
Yeah.
So elaborate on that for us.
Yeah. So I have two things that I think work in my favor, and they're my superpowers. I am two things. Well, I have many things, but two of the things that stick out when I think of emotional intelligence as it pertains to this particular situation is I am non-confrontational and I am neurodivergent. A lot of people would see a Libra woman and go, "Oh, as soon as there's a problem, she's going to go," which is technically what I do because it keeps everything at peace. It keeps things balanced
Mm,
and at bay. And then I don't have to actually face the music. Now, you did teach me a couple of really key points here. So I'm going to make sure I tap into those. But the other piece, being neurodivergent, is that I have to work hard to make sure that I get and gain understanding from the other person's perspective and point of view. And
mhm,
so those two things combined, me being non-confrontational, takes me to a place that's hidden so I can sit and reflect. And those are
mm,
the two main key components that actually help me get ahead in business. I know that if there's ever a reason for me to bump heads with anyone, which this was one of two situations that's ever happened in all my years of doing business, I thought, gosh, what do I need to do? This is my friend. This is
yeah,
my friend first. So, guys, if you're out there listening and you've done business with a friend and you know this friend on a regular, everyday basis, and you know you don't want to lose a friendship, you have to take a moment to yourself to use and lock into your emotional intelligence and figure out your role in the situation. And for me, that looked like, well, I didn't handle it the right way. And I am at fault for the things that she is unhappy with pertaining to our partnership. There were a number of things, and I could list them all day, but a couple of the big things for me, Kamei, was really understanding what I needed to do and whether it was going to work for me or not, and
Right.
assess that. And then to be honest with myself in how I approached this situation, because I did, come up with the concept, but I didn't see it the way that we were playing it out. And so I should have, instead of being non-confrontational, said something at that moment. But using my emotional intelligence was super important. Guys, we bumped heads. We had a conversation. We had a little yelling match. It was not good. And I walked away from it crying, but my emotional intelligence just needed a break. And actually, I remember on the phone with you, I was like, hey, I need to take a break. That is me saying, oh, that neurodivergence is like, yo, I got to take a break from everything. I actually stepped away and was non-confrontational to some degree, but I took a nap. I needed to rest. I needed to rest my system, my brain, and being an empath is really difficult on someone who's neurodivergent, who knows they're neurodivergent. There are some people out there who do not understand that, have never been tested, and just think that the other person's crazy, to be honest with you. So that's why
you were crazy.
Yeah. So that's why I decided to take a break for the moment, but I use my emotional intelligence to get me back full circle and say, hey, on top of everything else, I care about my friendship with her. So after that long, lengthy break, I think we stopped talking for like a good month or two. I knew that it was time for me to, have the rubber meet the road and talk to you and just have a real mature conversation. Cause I don't think either of us was being too mature in our response to one another on that day.
Well, we were passionate about what we were doing. We were passionate about our contributions to the project.
Definitely.
And, because we are friends, that was a dynamic, right? And I don't think that, looking back on it now, it was handled first in God's perfect timing. I feel that God has had his hands, all over the situation, because at the center of it, the break room, the interviews, the this, the that, like above all of that, was our friendship.
Yeah.
And, the Boss Ladies Breakroom could come and go. And, so we, for me, I had to ask myself, what is most important to me here? Is it more important for me to, do this podcast with Mark Ray, or is it more important for my friendship, for me to have my friendship with Mark Ray?
Sure.
Because, as we've seen, either one of us could have done the break room without the other. Right. I mean, the dynamic of the two of us, there's nothing like it. Right. We got vanilla milk chocolate and we got caramel milk chocolate over here, like the best of both worlds. Right. The dynamic together. But that honestly, that is the truth, that we both could have, continued, the platform, without each other. Right.
Sure. Yep.
We talked a little bit about, like our expectations clashed, right? Without getting into, the details. And so, and I hope our audience that are watching today, I hope, they're not disappointed that, we're not getting juicy into the details. But that is absolutely, not what this interview is or what this series is about, right? Because we're not here to blame the past. We're not here to, blame each other, right? This is about healing, about restoration, about repair, and using emotional intelligence. I think that's something that, a takeaway that everybody, should be actually taking notes on, from what you said, is our own emotional intelligence, because that's our thermometer, right? That regulates everything in our life, not just about friendships or the Boss Ladies Breakroom,
That's right. Yeah.
when you mentioned that we were having a conversation, and in that conversation you're like, hey, I need to take a break, right?
Mhm.
I need some time here.
Yeah.
So like the burn, right, where expectations clash with capacity. This is where women can feel seen,
Mm.
right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So something that you said is you found negative language,
Mhm.
burnout, and betrayal
Mhm.
to be lessons.
Yes.
Changing the narrative through language that you use with yourself.
Mhm.
So talk to us about that in regards to, the burn aspect of how our expectations clashed with the capacity of what we were doing.
Sure. I like to consider those things language that we all take as maybe can be seen as like having a negative connotation as fuel. So here we are talking about the burn and fire and the year of the fire horse and all these new beginning things. Well, these concepts were fuel. If I were to hear the words betrayal or burnout was a factor, I would use those terms as fuel in order to take me to self work, dive deep, learn the learning style of the other person that I would have to work with. So I use those concepts as milestones to get me to the next level, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I'll read an article, and I was printed in HuffPost a few years back speaking about the term kind of like burnout, but the term in the office was all about determination, revamping your mental capacity and what you need to do that. And the reason why I wrote the way that I did is because if I continued using the language like burnout, betrayal, and things like that, I'm then taking on that energy to make sure that that is my story. And those types of things do not need to be involved in my story. Sure, they're
Mm-hmm.
a part of my journey, but if I use them as milestones, then they're then now building blocks, right? I can build
Mm-hmm.
myself up as a matter of helping myself to regain a certain type of leveled out energy. Because as I mentioned, being a Libra, I have to be leveled out in all aspects. I need that break, that sleep, that rest, whatever it is, to get myself back here at a level playing field so that once I come to and I really realize what those words like betrayal and burnout mean, when I use them as fuel and use them as milestones to get me to the next level, then I no longer think negatively about them. I no
Mm-hmm.
longer attach myself to anything that has to do with negative language regarding my progress. And so that's where that came from. We don't take L's over here, baby. We have lessons, we have
That's right.
learning,
That's
and
right.
that's about it. Those are the only L's that we take over here. You know how we move. So
Yeah.
so this Clash of the Titans was a learning lesson, and those milestones that I chose to use, I flipped them and then threw them on the fire so that eventually the fire is going to go out, right? So I just
Right.
tossed them right on in the fire as a methodology to heal. Yeah.
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 So there was like a grounding, right?
Oh,
That,
absolutely.
yeah, that had to be
Mm.
done. So,
Mhm.
when we decided that it was best, to stop doing the break room together,
Mhm.
um, and I had um, basically, I don't want to say I took the platform, but
Mhm.
I volunteered to take the platform.
Sure.
And of course, with your blessing, of course.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
and that was, for me, I was like, okay, well, is this something that I want to do? Do I even
Mm.
want to do this, by myself?
Right.
Because I the concept was, for you and I to do this together.
Sure.
And you bring such a different perspective,
Mm.
to the things that we do. Like we have a lot of similarities, but we're very different,
Mhm.
and different experiences, different life experiences,
Sure.
different traumas that we have experienced. I remember kind of during the burn kind of grounding process,
Mhm.
you calling me and you saying to me, like, I had a nightmare that something happened to you and that, like I never got a chance to, talk to you again. And, so what was going on with us in the break room and, our interaction was triggering you essentially.
Yes, ma'am.
And so that was, I would have never known that if you wouldn't have shared that. And so, I for those of you that are watching, I really, really want to really emphasize to each and every one of you that in any relationship, whether it's, personal, business, professional relationship, when you're having conflict, and there are things that are happening that you really just don't understand, you have to take a moment and ask yourself, what is this about for this person? What about this situation is triggering or could be triggering this person? Because whether somebody has, a high level of self-awareness that they know that that's happening or they don't know that's happening, it's happening. Okay. It happens. Situations, conversations that are happening today will trigger us from the trauma of our past.
There it is.
And if we don't have emotional intelligence and a high level of self-awareness, okay, we can't, we're not saying to ourselves in the moment, okay, I'm being triggered. I'm not going to react to this situation because the situation isn't what's coming up for me. The past trauma, because the body keeps the score, the mind doesn't forget, the body keeps the score, right? We will react to the trigger from the past trauma.
And let me give you a little inside scoop, y'all. Grab your mug, okay?
Yeah.
I grew up in a household where it's easy to get triggered by something that you've seen. I lost a friend. These are two totally different things. I lost a friend after arguing with her. She got behind the wheel and fell asleep. And so my triggers fall in line with two things: being yelled at in my household. I had one parent, and that parent did the best that they could, but their way of disciplining me and making sure that I understood their message was by yelling. And so I live in a house where none of that happens. It doesn't exist. And so for me to be going back and forth with my friend, trigger, that's number one. Start thinking about yourself in business. Start thinking about yourself in your everyday life, friends, because your triggers may show up at times when you least expect it. And let me tell you this. Last night, Miss Kamay, I had a very traumatic nightmare. Okay. And I called the person that I had the nightmare about, and I held my tongue. And I just wanted to check in with that person because everyone's energy matters. And I didn't want to start my day off after having a nightmare. I just wanted to make sure that person was safe. So you have to think, what kind of traumas do I need to work on moving forward that tell me that I'm still not fully healed in that area, right?
Yes.
So when I say I'm non-confrontational, you guys, I'm like, listen, I'm out of here. But that in itself is a trigger response to not wanting to be, stressed out or whatever that looks like. So really pay attention to how your body reacts, what you need for yourself, how you need to slow down. That sleep that I told you I needed, I really needed it. I ran to my bed essentially to get some rest so I could start over and really sit with my thoughts. I don't think a lot of people sit with their thoughts.
They don't.
They want to be the boss. They want to be, they want to be the do-gooder. They want to make sure that, people understand them and they're on this mission. That is fine. That is
they want to be right.
But you have to think about the other person. You have to think about, do I know this person's traumas? Oh, I better not be yelling at this person because I know that they were beaten, battered, or bruised back in the day. Or, yelling at this person or how we interact is going to make a huge difference in the way that we respond and the way that we heal together or separately or what. So those things are very important in business, in friendship. Think about the people. And if you don't know the people that you are getting ready to react or respond to, you might want to get to know them and know a little bit more about their story, because your method of working with them or working through something with them might not be the right method.
Yeah.
Truthfully.
Well, yeah. And, like, again, emotional regulation, showing us where to check ourselves and pivot, right? That's something that you mentioned.
Yep.
Fire without grounding destroys.
Mm.
Fire with awareness transforms.
Mm.
So let me, share this, because we were talking trauma and, triggering traumas. This is something that just in the last few weeks that has been revealed to me. And I just want to start initially by saying how grateful I am for the revelation. It's something that I've been working on over 25 years, over the last 25 years. I just want to shout out my very good friend, Nancy Colville, who, got me on this journey of self-awareness, right? And looking back into our past. So I have been begging God. To to remove or to take out of me, memories of a betrayal, memories of, physical abuse, memories of betrayed by friends, betrayal of, boyfriends. I'm happily married today. My husband has never betrayed me. He's never lied to me. He's never cheated on me, never deceived me. Okay. But present day, I have nightmares about him betraying me. And I wake up with the physical manifestation of the betrayal, the heart wrench, the heart broken, like my heart's being ripped out of my body cavity. I actually physically feel that physical manifestation from the betrayal I'm seeing in my dream, right? Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes. That is how tightly you are connected to that man, which is woo.
Yes.
Serious.
Yes. And there are women who will live their entire life, never be lied to, never be cheated on, never, experience betrayal from a best friend, their entire life, right? And I've woken up in the middle of the night and, my husband has, comforted me and the poor guy, he's like, oh my God, like what's wrong? What's the problem? How can I fix it? It's 2:00 in the morning. We got to get up and, just the other day, Mark Ray, I realized that my sister, my oldest sister, was my first bully.
We did talk about this.
I also realized in this realization that she was the first person who told me that I wasn't good, that I wasn't deserving. And I also realized that my mother co-signed those belief systems and that programming, telling me, like when she would do something for me, right? She would say, don't tell your sister I'm doing this. For whatever reason, she would say it, right? And again, I'm not blaming my sister. I'm not blaming my mother. This is just the things that happened, right? So my mother's message, to me was, you're only good enough to be loved in secrecy.
Oh, no.
Not out loud.
Wow. What a connection. What a connection.
So my entire life that I've grown up, and I believed that bullying started in school. So I blamed my classmates. I blamed elementary school kids, or like in junior high, I think is, when I kind of started to, connect the dots, right? So it was my junior high classmates that were bullying me. And, then when I grew up and became an adult and, got into the workforce, then it was, my these attorneys that I work for, these female attorneys, are bullying me.
Mm.
And so, I've worked on myself. My husband and I went through marriage counseling. I've always been searching for why in my dreams, these nightmares that I've had. Mark Ray, in the dream, I'm like yelling at my husband, like in every dream. And the question is, why are you doing this to me? Why are you doing this to me? Like, the dreams are different, but my conversation is the same. Why are you doing this to me? Why are you doing this to me? Why are you doing this to me?
Wow.
So, and I don't want to spend too much time on this, because we could talk for a whole hour, about this whole realization that I had. And I recently shared it with my sister as well.
Wow.
Yeah. The answer, having this revealed, thinking back to my childhood memories, remembering things that happened, right? Remember these exchanges with my sister, remembering these, exchanges with my mom. And, it is crystal clear to me now today. And I've been praying for this. I have been begging for this revelation for years. I've been searching, asking. I know you and I have had many conversations on these topics, together.
How's your sleep been since the realization?
What was that?
How's your sleep been ever since once it came to?
Yeah, well, I haven't had a nightmare yet, but we'll see.
Okay.
We'll see.
You like that?
But I have finally been able to connect the dots. I now know where it started.
Right.
But also in saying this and sharing this, that my sister was my first bully. My sister was the first person to tell me that I wasn't good enough, that I wasn't deserving. My mother, telling me that I was only good enough to be loved in secrecy. I can now, because I know where it started, I know where it came from, and I know that they were doing the best that they knew how to do at that time. Right?
Yep.
I now can answer all of these questions. Like, I no longer have these questions about why or how come. And the biggest part of this is knowing when I'm triggered.
Yeah.
And knowing what I'm triggered about eliminates my reaction to what's happening to today. So let me repeat that. Me knowing when I'm triggered and what trauma it is attached to, that situation in the past, that circumstance in the past. And my level of self-awareness is telling me, what you're feeling, what you're experiencing has nothing to do with what's going on right here at all. That eliminates me reacting, because, when we reacting is emotionally based, responding is intelligence based, right? So I no longer, well, I hope I will no longer react when I'm triggered from my past trauma. And that's what this has done. I feel like I'm no longer searching for the answer, right? So the repair, like, that takes me to the next, section of our interview, the repair aspect. Right. Like, where do we go from there when we have the answers? After you and I had a conversation and we understand, like, the way you think this should be going, and the way I think this should be going, we're not coming together in the middle. So, we've got to have some grounding. We need to take some time. And then, like, how do we come back and repair this? So mature boundaries protect relationships. Mature boundaries protect relationships. Not this tit for tat. Well, you did, so I did, or well, you can't, so I can't, or, not tit for tat, because that's not mature, right?
Girl, not the toxic business practices.
That's very, very adolescent, right? Mature boundaries protect relationships. So you have given us 5 mature tips for healing leaders. So in closing, I want to run through those. And I really want our audience to pay attention and to write these down, because you guys can learn from us. Just like I learned from Marcray, and Marcray, you have learned from me.
That's
so
correct.
your 5 tips for healing leaders. So number 1, self-reflection. Take it away.
Okay, self-reflection. Now we're talking about anything from journaling to taking that break, that sleep break that I mentioned to you, really listening to your body and remaining self-aware enough to understand what you need in the moment to move into step 2. Any of those thoughts being put on paper is a cleansing and a healing. And honestly, this sounds kind of crazy, but a lot of people do it. A lot of people talk to themselves. Self-talk, let me tell you, positive self-talk is key. If you wake up in the morning and you know you woke up on the wrong side of the bed, talk to yourself positively. In the mirror, say some affirmations, and I guarantee you, as you set your foundation, the rest of your day will follow.
Yeah.
Okay? That's number
like
1.
Mary J says, I wake up every morning and say, good morning, gorgeous, every day, right? Every day.
Gorgeous. Yes.
Every day. Number 2, introspection grounding.
Yes.
Talk to us about that.
That's great. So we are in our grounding phase of our conversation right now. And grounding introspectively means that you take time to do things internally for yourself. This is not just about self-awareness. This is more about finding ways to ground yourself. And just so you know, that day that I went to go take a nap, I went to go lay in a grounding Japanese bed. Okay. So I'm going to have you guys take notes on why certain cultures sleep closer to the ground. Okay. I really want you to understand, as a Reiki specialist, I make sure that I have people lay flat on the ground during a sound bath, and I help them rebalance their internal chakras in order to make sure that they feel fully grounded so that they can uplift, get up, and move on to the next thing. But without stillness, everyone, there is really no great way to gain introspective grounding. So I'm glad that we're talking about that. It's very, very important. This means nature walks or just being alone for a moment. Right? I love a good me moment. I love going to the movie theater by myself.
Yeah. Okay? Yeah. Well, taking your shoes off and going outside and standing in your yard on the grass.
Put your feet in the grass.
Feel the ground, feel the earth, right?
Oh, you would be surprised.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of people can't be alone by themselves, let alone, ground themselves.
Girl, that's for another time at another day. But if you don't like your own company, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Like, literally. I mean, and I understand, some people have become accustomed to or have been shaped that way because maybe they have a big family and they grew up in a household full of people, and being by themselves makes them be with their thoughts. And that's a problem. I will tell you this. If you can stand alone, you can stand anything.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah. Well, and the time of, that's just how I am, miss me with that. We're not talking that language anymore. Because
miss me.
When you improve yourself, when you work on yourself, when you become a better version of yourself, you are better to those around you that you love and care about.
That's correct.
So if you continue to, to take this, kind of superiority complex with your friends and your family, that's going to dictate the value of the relationships around you. And they're not going to last. They're not going to be fruitful for you, because you cannot just simply say, well, this is how I am. This is how I treat people, because what you put out is what the world's going to give you back. Right.
I have a friend who told me about that. Her name is Eileen. Shout out Eileen. She told me I need to tell my friends what I need, and that's it. I don't owe them anything else, and they don't owe me anything else. I just need to tell them where I'm at.
Right.
So very important for grounding, you guys. Yeah. Number 3, what were we saying? Number 3, somatic.
Somatic movement. Yeah, let's it's veto, baby.
It's veto, baby. Right? Planning a concert or an outing with a friend that has to do with music. As I mentioned, sound baths, sound bowls, those types of things I actually ended up changing the energy in my home with. Music, sitting in your car for a minute, about 5 to 10 minutes of music will change your internal keys, ding, 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 to get into a new energy zone. Okay. Thinking about HZ frequency and how that can change the shape of your home. I leave YouTube on when nobody's here to change the energy in my house, and I leave it on 432 HZ every day. Gym time, going to a group fitness class and being with your friends in that capacity. Hey, body pump, or doing it by yourself, even just showing up and moving your body a little bit. You could even go outside and do a little Tai Chi. Okay, look it up on YouTube. I don't know all the moves, but do a little Tai Chi and get your body moving. I have a good friend, Diana. Her parents get up every morning. They take a walk and they do Tai Chi together. And this is a custom from where they came from in Korea. They do the same exact thing every single morning. Yeah. I was like watching the video like every morning. She was like, yeah. I was like, I might need to do that.
Yeah.
Yes.
It works. It definitely works.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. And number four, safe space conversations.
Listen, safe space conversations like the one we're having right now. Hopping on a Zoom and having a little happy hour with your closest of close.
You're catching a flight and showing up, popping up on your friend, right? With a mug, with your picture on it.
We can do a virtual happy hour. You remember when COVID was popping and everybody was like, okay, we're going to get on for happy hour and bring your drinks. You know, you had half drunk people telling all their business. Listen, it actually makes a difference, okay?
Yeah.
As I was helping people, children of loss back in the day, as a counselor, the one thing that I knew was having that moment, even if they were sitting there fiddling with a pen and being able to have a conversation with me, whether they were looking at me in the face or not, I knew that they were going through a process to retrain their brain to feel like they have gotten it out. You and I, Kame, right now, this is a healing moment. This is a safe space. You and I are healing in sharing what we have experienced with one another, with the world, essentially. But this is a safe zone for us because this is where we dwell. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Exactly. And then the other thing I was going to say is mental health groups, sessions, and things like that. Some people are not comfortable with going to a counselor per se or a therapist, but there are plenty of free group sessions out there. I would suggest checking into places like betterhealth.com. BetterHealth is a place where you can just virtually go online and share with people or sit in on their groups and listen, right? I myself have sat in on multiple AA meetings just to hear other people's stories and hear how they've healed. So there are lots of ways that you can actually be in a safe zone and not share where you're at, but listen so you can relate to people and understand where they have come, where they have brought themselves through something. Yes.
Well, and I think, especially if you're going through something, to step outside of yourself, get outside of yourself and go be for someone else, even if it's in silence.
What you think, great.
Right. What you think you're going through, what you think is, horrendous, essentially, not that it's not, but to step outside of yourself, to, listen to what somebody else is going through. Number one is an opportunity for you to maybe make a difference. But for number two, it shows you that, hey, this, I need to get outside of myself. I need to get out of my own way. Gosh, I thought this was really bad, but what this person has going on is horrible, traumatic. So, helps, again, build our self-awareness and change our perspective, right?
I love that you said that. Get out of your own way. Taking yourself out of it and thinking about the other person is a key component in healing forward in professionalism and in friendship. Absolutely key. Number 5, just so that you know. Now, pull in with me real quick. Maslow's hierarchy of needs. We all at this point, hopefully, should understand what Maslow's hierarchy of needs is. But your girl then made her own Maslow's hierarchy of need.
Well, the missing theory, right? Mark Ray, it's not Maslow's missing theory, it's Mark Ray's missing theory, right?
There it is. Listen, Mark Ray's missing theory. This is where people get all serious. Travel. If Maslow missed one thing, I know for a fact that brother was not outside walking around doing anything with a backpack on. He was worried about making sure that we knew scientifically what we personally need, but nobody talks about travel and how getting out
Yes.
can teach us things about ourselves and the world. So that is my extra bonus Maslow's hierarchy of need. If you can take a moment to get away on a staycation, a vacation, meaning in your town, to a place where you've never been, even if it's a
Mhm.
little further away than you would expect, do it. If you can go out of state and you can afford to do that, absolutely, all the better. But getting out and understanding that there are other things outside of yourself, which is what you
Yeah.
just said, and there are other places that you can go so that you can learn to heal, sit on top of a mountain, take a nature hike, go and walk with a friend, do a walk and talk. Me and that girl, Eileen, I told you about, we're going to Japan in February. And guess what we're looking forward to doing? Walking.
Yeah.
That's it. We are not going anywhere. We're going to go eat and, see some parks. We're going to go see the Grand Buddha, but we're walking there. We're using our feet. We're getting some fresh air. We're doing all the things that are needed in order for us to remember where we started as friends. And lastly, to ensure that you know who you are, friends, that travel is going to take you to major, major new heights. If you recognize how abundant you truly are at this very moment, to have feet that walk, to have legs that keep you traveling, that are strong and sturdy enough to hold you up. Or if you grab a bike, go rent a bike or rent a scooter and can ride around with your family or just by yourself, you are blessed. Understand that, know that. That is considered travel, believe it or not. Anything outside of your comfort zone, anything outside of your car, or if you just drive your car to the nearest couple of blocks and walk them because you've never walked them before, that counts as Maslow's hierarchy of needs in the travel department. So those are my top 5. Those are my 1 through 5 on what is necessary and needed for you and I to heal forward in business. Kamei, tell us about what to expect next and what would you like to say in closing?
Well, I mean, wow. I mean, speechless, the 5 tips that you've shared, amazing. And anybody that's watching, to write those down, go back and rewatch the replay and write those down and consider where you can implement those, suggestions in your life, because it's 2026, the year of the fire horse, right?
Yes.
This is the year of bold healing, power, moves, and purpose.
Yes.
This has been an amazing interview to open up this new season, this new chapter, this new era of the Boss Ladies Breakroom. Today, we didn't talk about just triggers. We talked about truth. We didn't just talk about healing. We talked about accountability, repair, rebirth. We didn't just talk about friendship either. We talked about boundaries, evolution, and grace. Grace.
Yes,
grace.
Yes,
and that's exactly what 2026 is calling us all into.
Let's go.
This year, the fire horse gallops in with passion, creativity, courage, and forward movement. We are not going back. We are only going forward, right?
That's right.
This is the
in saying that, I have something that I wanted to ask you. And this is a very formal invite, darling, because we are in the break room. I am hosting a community event February 222. And I would love, and of course, we're going to get this all on contract because I know my girl is serious. Okay. But I would really love if you would host the event, because you are a fabulous host. And I would love to formally invite you to host the event. It is called Mix and Manifest in Seattle at the Collective. And I would like to highlight you as my sister in business and in real life, to be the host that's going to make sure that every single person in the room feels seen, and every single business and vendor is 100% compensated by purchase of the tickets. You can find that event on Eventbrite, but wait until I add Miss Kamei's face. That's really going to make things boom. Okay. Okay.
Well, I mean, I oblige you. I mean, anything you ask of me, I would be honored. I would be honored. I think we got an applause in here somewhere. We got an applause somewhere. Yeah. know.
That always cracks me up. I love it.
Uh,
Yes.
this is the year that pushes us out of old cycles and out of stale identities, out of reactions that no longer serve us, right?
Mm.
But hear me when I say this. Fire without grounding becomes destruction.
Mm.
Fire with intention becomes transformation. So this year we're choosing transformation. We're choosing it. Okay. We're going to stop fearing our triggers and start learning from them. I am an open book. If, any of you watching, you want, more information on, how I have, dealt with this recent, revelation, what has, how it's transpired between my sister and I, I would love to share because I am so grateful. I'm so grateful that I'm, not afraid of my triggers anymore, right? I'm learning from them and I'm implementing what I'm learning into my marriage, into my other friendships, into my business, professional relationships.
Yes.
This is the year that we stop shrinking ourselves to keep the peace, Mark Ray.
Hello.
And start choosing peace that actually keeps us whole. This is the year that we honor our bodies, our boundaries, our relationships, and our purpose with a new level of emotional intelligence. In 2026, I want to challenge you. Every trigger is an invitation. It's an invitation to heal an old wound, to reclaim a lost piece of yourself, to rise in a way that's bold, grounded, and absolutely unstoppable. I will tell you guys, when I realized that my sister was the first person to say that I wasn't good or that I wasn't deserving, to actually know that's where that came from. Oh, honey, sister, today I stand in boldness, courageous courage, because I know where that programming, where that message, where that belief system came from, and that it's not true. It wasn't true then, and it absolutely is not true today, right? If you reclaim something, or if you lose something, like, this is the year to reclaim it. Reclaim what you have lost. 26, the year of the fire horse. That's what this year is for. Okay. So we can close today's episode. And I want everybody to hold this truth. You as well, Mark Ray.
Okay.
And we can talk more when you get here tomorrow, because I'm expecting you. Just let me know what time. I'll see you when you get here. You got the address, right? So here we go. Your healing is your power move.
Hello.
Your clarity is your strategy.
Wow.
Your boundaries are your superpower. And your purpose is your permission to take up space. Your healing is your power move. Your clarity is your strategy. Your boundaries are your superpower. And your purpose is your permission to take up space. Write those down. Every morning. Look at them every night. Yeah. We are riding the fire horse this year with intention, with compassion, with fierce determination. And here in the break room, you won't be on the journey alone. We're going to be right here with you all the entire way, right?
Right. From the root to the boot, baby.
That's right. So thank you so much for being here, Mark Ray. Thank you for growing with me. Thank you for choosing me. Thank you for being committed to our friendship. And thank you for sharing in transparency with our audience how we started and how we ended up here today. And here we are, back in the break room, my friend.
Yes, and I love you, love you, love you, and love what you are doing and what you have done with the break room. Moving forward, I am always in full support and wanted to make sure that you and I were at this level playing field, baby, so we can razzle dazzle the rest of the year.
That's right.
Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your energy and believing in me to get back into the break room when there were a couple of inadequate things that I needed to get together. I was ready this time, baby. I was ready to go.
You were. Yes, you were. Yeah.
Working with paralegal Kamei, but my friend, my real true friend, Miss Kamei, is the one that I came to see today. So I really appreciate you, sis.
Well, thank you. Thank you so
Love
much.
you.
I appreciate you sharing your growth. I appreciate it so
Absolutely.
much.
Absolutely. We
Thank
all
you.
have time. All right. Love
We're
you.
going to take a quick break, everybody. When we come back, I'm going to revisit the lesson and the strategy that we learned today real quick before we end the series. Thank you so much, Mark Ray.
Love y'all.
Did you know that 46% of mobile shoppers are likely to buy a product or service from a verbal ad when it's relevant to the content that they're viewing? It's responsible for capturing attention, creating interest, and persuading your target audience.
You know, it's about every woman having their unique experience. When you're on that vibroacoustic sound equipment, women go into their own world.
Let the Boss Ladies Breakroom put your company in the spotlight. Visit my website at misskamayinternational.com, click the contact tab, and fill out the form listing sponsor ad spot in the subject line. And let us create a sponsor ad for you, your company, or service or product that you sell, which will be featured in our series. Partner with us for a greater reach to those who need you. Welcome back to the Boss Ladies Breakroom, everybody. In closing, hey, I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in today. My very, very, very special guest and very, very special friend, Mark Ray Thibodeau, dropped lots of gems, gave lots of sauce. You know, I'm here in the break room on YouTube at 2 p.m. the first Wednesday of every single month. This year, we are launching the Triggered, Not Broken series here in the break room. We are going to be bringing guests into the break room that are going to talk about healing, talk about boundaries, talk about self-awareness. We are launching our Boss Ladies Breakroom media feature this year as well. So connect with me on social media to find out more information. If you are an entrepreneur and you are looking for some content that highlights you and spotlights the boss lady that you are, we're offering you a space here in the break room for that. We've got quarterly workplace bullying webinars that I'm going to be teaching. I'm going to be diving deeper into the topic and teaching quarterly webinars every single quarter in the month of October. I will be launching weekly webinars to highlight Workplace Bullying Awareness Month in the month of October. I'll be partnering with board members with the National Workplace Bullying Coalition. We're doing a lot of work over there and here in the state of Nevada to pass the Dignity at Work Act. So follow me on social media for all those updates and how you can get involved and donate, become a member of the board essentially, and potentially pursue your state and local legislators to make bullying illegal in your state. We would love the support and expand our reach. Obviously, as a document preparation consultant, I prepare documents for business, for legal, estate planning, any document you need prepared, Miss Kamay International can do that for you. And finally, the 2026 Firehorse Edition, I've got great speaking engagements lined up to talk on my signature topics, my negotiation superpower, emotional intelligence as leadership strategies, how I turned my paralegal experience into my own consulting business. That's a highly requested webinar presentation. So those are my Firehorse webinar presentations I'm launching this year. And then finally, as we step boldly into 2026, the year of the Firehorse, I want you all to remember this. Your voice is valuable. Your healing is strategic. Your boundaries are sacred. And your purpose is non-negotiable. Stay connected, stay empowered, and stay here in the break room where we educate, inspire, and empower every single month. I'm Miss Kamay, and I will see you guys next month, the first Wednesday of every month at 2 p.m. right here in the break room on YouTube. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks for joining me in the Boss Ladies Break Room for the Financial Literacy Series. Remember, subscribe to my YouTube channel at Miss Kamay International and join me the first Wednesday of every month at 2 p.m. right here in the break room.